this session, we can discuss about the model number 1, that is introduction of operational research. Okay, that is the evolution or the history of OR. What is the meaning of OR? What is the scope of OR? Where we can use this operational research? Then what are the steps which are to be present in OR study? Characteristics. What are the limitations of the OR? Then there will be many models are there to resolve many problems which are present in the industries or any organization, any business model. All those things also we can discuss. Then linear programming, problem formulation. Okay, that is the analytical method. Another one is the graphical method. Then whatever we are modeling, how you need to resolve that problem. Okay, that can be made with respect to that of the solution of linear programming. Okay, there will be many methods with respect to your syllabus. They are clearly mentioned with respect to that of the simplex method, which it is to be used for two format of the formulation. One is the canonical form, another one is the standard form. These two to be made evaluation with a proper mathematical modeling. Okay, you might be learned in your mathematics 4 or the 3rd. Okay, if you learned, it is well and good. If not, we can proceed with the same method to resolve with respect to that of the problem which are to be defined. This is what is the content which is to be present in model number 1. Okay, one by one we can discuss, then we can cover as per the topic which is to be required. Then obviously, and remember Bloom taxonomy which is to be required, that is there will be a level 1, level 2 and the level 3. Okay, that will call as knowledge level 1, knowledge level 2, knowledge level 3. Okay, these levels we can meet once we completed all these topic, because there will be analysis is required, problem solving is required, obviously which is belongs to that of level number 3. Okay, with respect to the 2, understanding of the concept what is to be required. Okay, level number 1 is the concept which it is overlapping with respect to that of the remembering the concept. Okay, these are with respect to that of model number 1 itself. Then first thing we need to concentrate on, what do you mean by the operations research? Okay, if you consider a industry, okay, in that industry, they are going to produce a one product. Okay, that product will not come immediately, which will require a time. Then which is having a number of stages in it. When you are going to define the proper time to complete all the steps or the processes which are to be going on to convert the raw material into a product, there will be a requirement of operation research. Why which it is required? Okay, because the some resource you are using, that itself a material. Okay, I need to use that effectively. For this material, what is it to be required to be carried? For that, there will be a human resource is required. That human resource to be get also be effectively utilized. There is no excess. Okay, there is no less number of requirement of the persons to complete that into a model or the product. For all these things, there will be a proper team which is to be required. That team will does to have the productivity improvement with an efficient operation. For that reason only, this operation research is required. Okay, especially which is present in all organization, industries, then institutions, okay, then business models, in all these areas. Okay, other than these many areas also which are to be adopting. Okay, some example I'm taking. All these are what? These are product oriented thing. Obviously, there will be a proper research to be required to make the effective production which is to be required from that model itself. Okay, that is what which it is to be required for the research for the particular operation. Next, the operations are nothing but what? These are generally activities which are to be carried in the organization. It means that one industry is there. Okay, if I'm taking that into a steel mine or the steel industry. Okay, in this raw material is what? The crude material which is to be used that as a ore. From this ore, we need to extract steel. It is possible directly extraction of this ore directly into that of the steel? Not at all be possible, which is having multiple process. Okay, these multiple processes are itself is what? Activities. Because the number of steps are to be present to get steel as a outcome. Okay, so that to carry these things, there will be a proper operation is required or the process is required. That itself is called as the operation. Okay, then research. What do you mean by a research? Obviously, it is a process. By that, there will be a proper observation which will be taking place. Then obviously, there will be a proper testing is also be characterized by the use of scientific method. Because any one industry is there means obviously that industry will adopted the scientific techniques. Okay, those techniques are most commonly using to resolve the problems which are to be produced during the process of execution. Okay, for that reason, the proper research should be present. Then only I can going to provide the proper observation corresponds to that of the testing. If not, which it is quite difficult to provide the whatever the system which to be required to meet the demand to increase its efficiency. Okay, that is the reason the research are plays a very important role. But what they can do in that research? First that they can understand what situation was to be present. Okay, if you are consider any industry, then in that industry, what is the situation which is to be present to continue with respect to that of the process in a particular period of time. In that period of time, what operation which are to be going to take place with respect to that of the problem statements are defined. According to that, problem statements are going on, then obviously we can provide easiest solution. If not, there'll be difficulty and also there'll be a time lapse. If time lapse with respect to that of recognizing of the problem to give the solution means obviously which leads to what? Delay in production. So that the research will play a very important role. For that statement, the whatever the problems are to be defined, we can model that into a systematic way. That is the model construction. Because the scientific method, then scientific technologies are to be used to resolve the whatever the system which is to be get into a product. Obviously, the model which is to be required, that model to be used for the betterment of increasing its efficiency. Once you are doing that, increasing its efficiency means whatever the time which to be required to be used effectively, then the material which is to be available will also be utilized in a proper way. For that reason, the model construction is required. That should be done with a proper validation. Okay, means which to be get verified, constructed, then which is to be get approved. Then that should be get have the proper experimentation. Because the scientific method, technologies are to be there means obviously to be expertized. Okay, then whatever is to be present to be followed in a systematic manner. Then candidate solution. Because one process was to be taking place to get a product. Okay, for that there will be input, then which is not having only a single step, which is having multiple steps in it. Okay, then obviously I can give solution immediately at that stage so that the proper candidate solutions are to be required for the proper research. These are to be carried in case of operations research. This is the what general meaning of operations and the research. Keep this in mind. Next. Okay, this is regarding to the operation research. Okay, then operation research is what? The systematic method, okay, which is to be used for the analytical approach. Okay, for this, obviously, which will going to provide a proper decision making and the problem solving. Obviously, if you did a proper operation research means which should be systematic one, then analytical approach, which to be provide a proper decision making to resolve the problem which ought to be present. Okay, this is also one of the way. Then operation research is the branch of mathematics because many of us we are using many mathematical model to resolve the complex problem. For that reason, it is also be a branch of mathematics which uses many techniques or the algorithms or the statistics to arrive the proper optimal solutions. Okay, for the what? For the complex problems. Okay, this is also be a definition of what? OR. Then typically what is to be present? Why we require this operation research? Especially in order to maximize the profit and in order to maximize the sales, in order to maximize output is to be present in the system. Then crop yields, if you consider the agricultural application. Okay, with respect to the machineries, all those things, obviously which will have efficient machine with respect to that of the minimum losses. Then risk what is to be present should be minimum. Then cost will also be minimum. What time which to be required to complete that objective function is also be lesser. Then obviously we can proceed with respect to that of the proper concern in the aspect of considering the operation research. Okay, all these things you can remember because once they ask definition, if I return only one sentence, they won't give 4 or 5 marks. They will ask these definitions of OR 4 marks, 5 marks. This moment you can define in a proper way and systematical way. Then only you can get the marks. If not, you won't get the marks itself. These things you can concentrate. Then operation research is the application of the analytical method which are to be designed to help the decision maker to choose various course of action available to accomplish the specified object. Because any industry which is to be present, okay, those industries are having the proper methods. Those are to be designed. Why those are to be designed? Because there will be a process in which supervisor will be there. Then supervisor will monitor all the technician. Technician will do the all the processes control. For that, decision maker will take the decision. Okay, for what? For the particular action. Okay, to complete whatever the objectives which are to be present. To do all these things, the operation research is required. Okay, there only we can use the operation research. If not, what is the use of that operation research itself? Okay, those things you can concentrate. Okay, then OR is extensively applied in the deserved areas, then manufacturing. Okay, this OR has been applied extensively, okay, in case of manufacturing companies. Okay, especially why manufacturing companies? The production is the main role. That production will come out at a particular time, obviously which is to be taken care into that of the market. Then obviously which is to be sold. Then they will get profit based on the investment what they did. Obviously, operation research is required in case of manufacturing sector. Then transportation. Okay, in case of the methods we are using for the transportation, we can use road, we can use sea level, then we can use airways. Many transportation applications are there. With respect to those transportation application, many problems are to be present. To do resolving that problem with a restriction of the time, their proper research is required along with proper operation. In construction of buildings, in construction field also, there will be a proper research is required. In telecommunication application, Okay, with respect to that of wired network or the wireless network, both application, the operation research is required. Then financial planning. With respect to the top financial operation, the sum fund is available. I to use that fund effectively for the purpose to meet our requirement. There will be a proper operation and research is required. If not, whatever fund which is to be taken out, which is not used effectively, obviously which will lead to what? Losses. Okay, those losses are also be never happen in any industries. If that loss is occurred, then obviously there will be a loss with respect to that of the investment which is to be done. So that the operation research is required there also. Then healthcare in medical industries also, which will play a very important role. Then military application, public services. Okay, then some other applications will also be present where it's to be required. Okay, these are what the many applications are to be used. Okay, then unusually in many applications also which are to be used in where it's to be required the proper production with respect to that of the requirement.